Hey everyone, and welcome back to my Completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS and Ascension. Bet you didn't expect this video to show up in your subscription feed. Thought I wouldn't finish my playthrough, huh? Thought I forgot about it. Not that kind of guy, pal. I never forget. Anyway, welcome to the grand finale. At long last, the time has come for the final confrontation at the Throne of Blood. It is going to be the culmination of the Ballspawn conflict, and a worthy conclusion to our whole playthrough. And it's going to be epic. But before we engage in all that, I'd like to just quickly fulfill a request from one of the comments about doing a final showcase for the Slayer transformation. If you remember, in Ascension, the Slayer form gets upgraded a few times, once our protagonist exceeds 2 million, 4 million, and 6 million experience. And Shira has been above 6 million for a while, but doing this presentation now is going to be very appropriate, considering we've just completed the final Pocket Plane challenge and defeated the Ravager. So let me first gain some distance on Shira from anyone else on the map, and do a quick save, and let's tap into that Essence of Bhaal one last time and see what new powers it can grant us. Yes. So as you can see, now we have an additional third option here to indeed turn into the Ravager. And it's very appropriate that those are separate, because the Ravager is a different avatar form after all, and it also carries some different disadvantages. For example, we are going to lose 3 reputation points if we choose to turn into the Ravager. By the way, we're also doing this now because the form is not going to be useful for us in combat. Shira is going to be needed in her human form, and there's also a little bug involved. But anyway, we can turn into the Ravager and inspect the form. It is immune to almost all status effects and has some pretty great stats. Its armor class, Thaco, health pool, and resistances are all very high. It can also deal a lot of damage. It has 8 cold damage on hit, also a chance to deal additional crushing damage, a chance to lower the target's magic resistance, to inflict sleep and knockback, and also to heal the Ravager and increase its maximum HP further. So it's a pretty good form. The old Sarawak would have been envious of all the powers at Shira's disposal, but the chaotic good, redeemed Sarawak is just happy for her, and content with wielding a weapon called Ravager. But anyway, the main drawback of this form is that we're pretty much guaranteed to lose control of Shira immediately through the mechanic of Berserk whenever anyone is close, friend or foe. And there is also that bug I mentioned. This is a bug, I think, with the Enhanced Edition, related to some of the shapeshifting forms, and basically it creates a faulty patch of ground below us that prohibits us from moving anywhere. But there is a workaround. We can, for example, summon our familiar and wiggle ourselves out of that faulty spot, and this familiar is going to push us out of it, and then we are going to be able to move. And yeah, we've already lost control over Shira, and she just attacks her Delise here. But yeah, a pretty cool form, just not going to be useful for us in the fight. So let me just quick load. And actually, I'm going to cut the recording here because I've rearranged our spells in between recordings, but we have to rest, and I'm going to apply all of the long-lasting buffs in the meantime. So I'm going to be back in a moment. Alright, we're done. All of the buffs are going to be displayed on the screen, and I'd just like to mention a couple of things. First off, you might notice that Owen wasn't pre-buffed with anything, because it would be pointless and a waste of time. There's a special surprise planned for her in the fight, and it's supposed to be a powerful, unsuspected move meant to have an impact on us, and I wanted to keep it that way. Now, it's pretty difficult to simulate a surprise when I know what's going to happen, but I wanted to at least avoid making moves specifically designed to counter what's in store for us regarding Owen. So our sequencers and contingencies contain a very generalist cookie-cutter selection of spells, and I didn't switch Owen's gear in any way, so we can't take advantage of her items. I just moved her containers to Shira, because that would happen anyway, automatically, and since I moved them, we at least have them neatly organized, so I know which container is which. I've also distributed some of those ultimate resources, like the nuts from Soldan SLR. We have 4 of them, and each of those heal for 55 hit points. We also have this one red orb from Watcher's Keep level 5 that heals for 64 hit points. Next, only Shira and Kirinai are buffed with improved haste. That's because they are the only characters with access to spell immunity to abjuration, and will be able to keep it. Everyone else just has the normal haste cast by Shira, because I didn't memorize any improved hastes on Owen, for example. And if we use the improved haste from items on other characters, it would be easily dispelled by the high-level opponents we will face, and the normal haste cast by Shira at level 29 has a chance to stay. And finally, Kiranai and Jaheira have specifically 100 magic cold resistance, and Sena has a special chain contingency that's going to give her some essential buffs at the beginning of the fight. So the only thing left for us to do now is apply some finishing touches, like a spell immunity to Conjuration on Sena. Kiranai is going to apply the same. And next, Kiranai is going to get spell immunity to Abjuration as well. And we're going to give our Divine Casters physical mirrors, and we're applying those at the very end, right before we go in, because those only last for 9 rounds, and there's also a lengthy intro to the fight that is going to let a couple of rounds pass anyway, and those physical mirrors are going to be pretty important. So anyway, let's cast those last remaining spells. And with all that, we're ready to experience one of the highlights of Ascension, the final battle. It's going to be a lot different, but in a good way. It's going to make so much more sense in how it's structured, and it's going to be a worthy ending to the whole saga. So, let's go. Your destiny is nearly complete. I am ready. It is time for the end.
As you step into the abyssal plane, the first thing that strikes you is how suddenly alien it feels. A chill wind sweeps across an empty void, screaming in your ears that you are not welcome here. Several strange towering structures are present, suspended in the void by an unknown power. All your immortal senses tell you, however, that the powerful essence of your dead father is close, and that this place is, indeed, the Throne of Bhaal.
I see you have finally found your way to the Throne of Bhaal. You should know, however, that you are far too late.
And this conversation, of course, is going to be completely different thanks to Ascension, and it's mostly well written, but there are some weaker moments here and there. But anyway. This part of the Abyss was once your father's, and might have been partly yours. But it's mine now. Along with all the essence of a god, this place is mine to rule as I wish. And this response is way too good not to use. You should have remained true to Bhaal, Melissan. Only he could save you now. I am disappointed in you, Senna. So much bluster, so much force, so much power and wisdom locked into such a fragile form. I suppose you actually believe you have a hope in opposing me, in seizing the throne for yourself. Such delusions. Senna does not stand alone, Melissan. It is time that this is ended. Ah, Balthazar is here as well. How clever to deny me his essence, Senna. Still blinded by your devotion to destiny, Balthazar? Or have you abandoned your faith so quickly? I see well enough now, priestess. Speak clever wit if you wish. You cannot hope to defeat us. Oh no. Perhaps you do not understand. This place here is the source. This is where the essence of all of Bhaal's children returns when they die, hidden away. Did you ever wonder, dear Balthazar, what killing all of the other spawn of Bhaal was for? To return the essence to our father, and the great bloodshed in his name to call him forth. And I never believed it. And well, you should not have, though you aided me regardless. Bhaal may indeed be somewhere, but not here. Here I have locked these essences away and drank heartily of their power. The source, the throne, all are mine, and godhood is but one simple step away. You do not believe in my power, I can see that much. You have fought terrible foes in your past and have always managed to succeed. Why, you leave a trail of felled opponents littered about even here in the Abyss, such as this one I found, discarded. Jonaleth?
Yes.
Irenicus, I believe you called him. So easily called as my own, since you abandoned him here recently, and such a valuable source of information on you, Senna. After all, I believe you did share a soul once, no? Say hello to the dear woman, Irenicus. Indeed, we meet once again. So, already you can see how different this is going to be from the unmodded game. And when it comes to Irenicus, we're going to have a more of an extended conversation with him in a moment, and unfortunately, he is one of those weaker parts of this whole conversation, in my opinion. Some of his lines are written like he was like a teenage angsty edgelord, and some of our responses as well Like, all of these ones are not really that great, but I guess we're going to go with this one here. Of course, if you truly desire a demonstration of my influence over the essence, that can be provided as well. Come, Owen. I command the essence within you. You are not ready to be here, and yet here you are. Let's see just how much of my power is contained in your young little soul, I'm not going anywhere with you, and nobody's touching my soul. Not again. You don't have to go anywhere, little one. I'm not calling you after all. I'm merely coaxing forth your essence. Ah, it hurts. Shira, stop her. It hurts. And I guess let's go with this one. What are you doing to her? Stop it.
I should not be wasting time on you. I still have to absorb the Ballspawn essences. And there is more than enough power in this plane to keep you busy.
Irenicus, Owen, show Shira the power she dares to oppose while I take what is mine. Okay, so now Melissan is going to go back into that central pillar to absorb more of the essences. And now we're going to have a proper conversation with Irenicus. So, Shira, it is now just you and I, once again, at odds in the bowels of hell and preparing to do combat. How very fitting. This is the Irenicus I have been told of? I was expecting more intensity and power from one who hounded Shira so, and not simply another wizard. Better than a laughable ghoul whose most promising idea to dominate the Sword Coast was to poison its supply of iron. I discarded you as a candidate long before Shira soundly defeated you, merely for fear of losing all common sense by association with your pathetic soul. Again, this last sentence could have been better. And yeah, their little exchange is kind of weak. Bark if you wish, mongrel. Whatever dull fangs you might have possessed have long since been pulled. If a has-been wishes to ride Shira's coattails, it makes no difference to me, but you'll be disintegrated right along with her. And here I think I like this response the most. Don't you ever tire of that bravado? Haven't you received enough spankings upon my knee? Because, of course, by this point we have defeated Irenicus so many times, but his response to this is just... oh, it hurts me to read it. So I think we're going to go with this one. Let's say we're going to try to strike a nerve here. So you're actually willing to serve as Melissan's little lackey? I would expect more from the great elven magician. Elasim would be sad to see you reduced to this. Do not speak her name, dog. Elasim will understand the fullness of her regrets soon enough. As for you, Melissan has given me the opportunity to return an old favor, one ascension for another. It rings with universal justice. But enough of this. Though I would dearly love to let my sister rot in her own hell for eternity, it would not be a true and fitting reunion if I did not use my new power to send her an invitation. So yeah, Bodhi is going to show up as well. And her lines are not that great either. Obviously they harbor no love for each other, but they are going to engage in that alliance of convenience once again to join forces against us. And we can actually address Bodhi, and some of these responses, this one is pretty good. Why don't you go jump on a stake and spare us both the tedium of battle? They are just going to cut to the chase and start the battle immediately, but I would like to first showcase this dialogue path. Still trapped in servitude to Irenicus, you have no will of your own, Bodhi. And this here kind of hints at the opportunity of recruiting Bodhi to join us instead, and that is indeed the case. She is kind of intended as the companion for this final fight for evil protagonists, because there are a couple of requirements that have to be met, but you don't necessarily have to be so evil. Because first off, you have to have 16 charisma, at least, to be able to convince her. Basically, the deal is that you're going to offer her a little portion of your soul to make her live again, sort of like what we did with Sarawak when we first met him in our pocket plane at the beginning of Throne of Bhaal. But you don't have to keep your end of the bargain in the end. There are a couple of outcomes there. Second, your alignment cannot be good, but neutral is going to do fine. Next, your reputation has to be 11 or lower, so it's not even that low. And finally, Balthazar cannot already be your companion in this fight. So of course we fail here on like multiple requirements, most of them. But yeah, just wanted to showcase that it is actually a possibility to have Bodhi on our side. But since, you know, of course we fail all of these requirements, she wouldn't be convinced, so I'm just going to say this. You are weak, Bodhi. While the blood of a god flows within me, I shall enjoy your death again. Enough, sister. We do as Melissan bids, with her servants at our side. Take delight, if you will, at the revenge we shall now taste. Let us see, Senna Shira, if I can rip that soul out of you once more. I would so delight in stealing your proud destiny a second time. So yeah, now they're going to summon those servants. Imoen screams, help me, please, and turns into a slayer. And now the first phase of the final encounter is going to commence. So let's be systematic about our opponents. I'm going to display the detailed stats about them on the screen, but here I'm just going to summarize what's most important about them. So, Joneleth. Despite all his arrogant trash talk, he's actually going to be the least important opponent in this fight, believe it or not. He is equipped with the Robe of Vecna, which speeds up his casting a lot, and in general he has 50 magic resistance, but his pre-buffs are very specific and kind of underwhelming, and the other enemies are just more threatening. Next up we have Bodhi, and she's very similar to her last appearance in Chapter 6, Shadows of Am. She has gained a massive regeneration though, and has all of her abilities, including her annoying Cloud of Bats, which is essentially a long-lasting creeping doom that can't be avoided by anything except spell immunity to conjuration. And she almost always casts it right away, so we'll see who the target is going to be. This is actually going to determine a lot when it comes to our tactics. Anyway, next we have these two Fallen Solars, and they are a great danger. As the ultimate celestial beings, they are immune to almost everything, including tricks effective against planetars, such as imprisonment, for example. They are archers with a dispelling shot, carrying a chance to remove our spell protections and other buffs. That's why we have physical mirrors and the reflection shield on Kirinai. They can also kill instantly and have a great spell library, including a unique dispel called Mordenkainen's Disjunction, which removes all spell protections and applies a dispel magic effect that always works. It is a total dispel that ignores spell shield, by the way, and is one of our reasons to kill the Fallen Solars as quickly as possible. And of course, at the beginning of the fight, they also summon 4 other demons, 2 Mariliths, 1 Succubus, and 1 Alu Fiend. And finally, we have Imoen, who in her Slayer form is an annoying distraction, being able to deal cold damage with 4 attacks per round. She has 40 magic resistance and is immune to quite a few status effects, but not all of them. And there's a few tricks we're going to be able to use against her. We can kill her, but don't want to, of course, because her Slayer change is going to end after a while, and she's going to regain her senses and be able to rejoin the party again. So, the odds are stacked against us. We're surrounded. We've lost Imoen, leaving us with only 1 mage. But we do have Balthazar on our side. Unfortunately, he's not quite the same Balthazar we've encountered 2 episodes ago. His stats are a little worse, and he's not immune to too many status effects without buff support. But the most important annoyance is the fact that we're not going to be able to fully control him and use him to his true potential. Because, as you can see, in his special abilities, he only has the standard monk abilities, and all of his special stuff like stances or techniques like Dragon Fist and so on are governed by his script. So he's going to use them on his own here and there, but we're not going to be able to really coordinate those skills with what we're doing. And also, in light of his vulnerability to certain effects like instant death, for example, he has to rely on Lunar Stance for his survival against some foes, like these Fallen Solars, for example. However, we can't activate it whenever we want, so we're going to have to attempt to track it somewhat, because he needs it here. And he usually does use it early though, so we're hoping for that. And another smaller problem is that he's not going to do too much damage to a target we want to focus. He's going to keep using his abilities and resetting his attacks, so his damage is not going to be too impressive either. However, it's still nice to have him. He's a very sturdy distraction with his health pool and regeneration, and he's always an additional companion, which can never be underestimated. But anyway, there's going to be a ton of stuff going on here, and it's one of those fights that can slip out of control at any moment, especially early, so we want to have a strong start. So, Senna Shira's Chain Contingency triggered. Now she has protection from magical weapons, immunity to abjuration, and true sight. This protection from magical weapons is absolutely essential so that she can cast in peace. And we have a special plan for Senna Shira, but first I would like to see who is going to be the target of Bodhi's Cloud of Bats. Of course, spell immunity to conjuration makes Senna Shira and Kirinai immune to it, but of course once it reaches a target, just like Insect, Plague, or Creeping Doom, it is going to spread to nearby targets. So whoever is the recipient of those Cloud of Bats, I would like to have away from the rest of our party, so that no one can get affected by that. And I think already I'm going to start moving, well, not with you, Balthazar. We're going to hope that you're going to activate your Lunar Stance here on your own. With Senna Shira, I think we're going to move east. Now, since Kirinai is protected against conjuration. I think she is going to move forward right away. Even if she is the target of the cloud of bats, we should have all of our other party members kind of far away from her, so she can already go in. And I think we're going to activate Greater Death Blow on Sarawak immediately as well. He has Fire Seeds, and that Jaheira made for him, and he is going to utilize the property of the Fire Seeds, of course, that spreads on-hit effects, to apply Greater Death Blow to these Succubi and Alufiends, at least this group in the west. We'll see if he's going to be successful on the other group as well. But the Succubi and Alufiends are only level 12, so they are going to die instantly to Greater Death Blow, and they are annoying because the Succubi can level drain, and they also have a charm ability that is not a spell, so spell protections don't protect against it. So if anyone loses chaotic commands, they are going to be susceptible to it. And the Alufiends have a couple of spells that they can cast, including Secret Word, which is going to be able to chip away at our magical defenses. So we're just going to quickly remove them with Greater Death Blow. They're already starting to like haste themselves. Balthazar is going to be entering Lunar Stance. He usually is kind of stunned in place for a few moments once he does that, but that's very good. This is going to make him immune to instant death that these Fallen Solar can deal, and also to Time Stop, and that is going to be relevant when it comes to our plans. Cloud of Bats is still not unleashed, so let's wait a little longer for that and see if that is going to happen. Now Sarawak is going to start throwing his Fire Seeds, and we're going to see what else happens. Irenicus doesn't have his pre-buffs yet. Alright, now something happens. Yeah, Irenicus has a very unique pre-buff sequence here with Mislead and immunity to divination and also a simulacrum, but not much else really, so we're hoping that for the first couple of rounds he is not going to be too threatening, more concerned about his own defenses and reapplying some spell protections and whatnot. Alright, Creeping Doom was cast on Sir Animan. That's actually really problematic, because we want to keep Animan's round open. We have plans for Kiranai and Jaheira that are going to be set in motion in a moment, but on Animan I wanted to have his round open, because we might have to reapply some protections if our party members lose them. Sarawak is in the biggest danger of losing his pre-buffs, and I would like to keep Animan's round open so that he can reapply Death Ward on Sarawak so he doesn't deal from these instant death shots. But anyway, I think the Creeping Doom comes from the Solar from the east, so we're just going to move Animan to the west, trying to delay the application of this Creeping Doom on him. Alright, Kiranai is already going to activate Assassination. Let me just see if those Cloud of Bats were unleashed. Still not yet. Anyway, I think the time has come to act with Senna Shira. I don't think we can spare any more seconds to just not do anything significant. And we are going to cast Time Stop on Senna Shira. Yes, this is going to be our first Time Stop, really, on Senna Shira. And this is, of course, a very opportune moment for it, considering this is the final fight. And we are going to cast it from a scroll for two reasons. First of all, it's going to be faster, because spells cast from scrolls are sped up if one is hasted. And second of all, it is going to avoid interruption from an unlucky Cloud Kill coming from the Mariliths or a Firestorm coming from the Fallen Solars. So we're just making sure that this happens for sure. Alright, now that Kiranai has her assassination, we are going to send her after Bodhi. And now, if she could just unleash those bats already so I know how to position our guys. I also want to have Jaheira activate Critical Strike and go after Bodhi as well, because Bodhi is immune to neither crits nor backstabs. So we can, take advantage of that fact and try to remove her from the encounter quickly. Alright, the Fire Seed was thrown by Sarawak. So let's try to position him here in the east and try to throw another one quickly before anything really happens to him. He is, like I said, at a great danger of getting affected by some kind of remove magic, although none were unleashed so far. I'm going to see what happens next. Alright, a little bit of a traffic jam here. We don't want our guys to block each other. Right, Bodhi. Cloud of Bats, okay, was unleashed on Senna Shira. She is away in the east, so we are not going to move Sarawak all that closely to her, and hopefully the bats are not going to be spread out onto any of our other members if we position correctly. Now we can activate Critical Strike on Jaheira as well and move her closer to Bodhi. And now let me just You know, these first few seconds are really crucial. That's why I'm, you know, really careful inspecting the combat log so closely and whatnot. So, you know, excuse me while I just look closely at what's happening, because it is important. I think that one succubus might have been out of range of our fire seed explosion, which is a little unfortunate, but the Alu Fiend died, it seems. Anyway, Sarawak, don't get blocked, and throw another fire seed when you still have your haste active and everything. Alright, Jaheira started attacking Bodhi. Now, Imoen seems to be content with chasing Animen. That's kind of cool. We can actually move even further with Animen, try to get her out of there. And I think there's another Creeping Doom also cast on Animen. Alright, so he is going to be the target of 2 Creeping Dooms, so we want to definitely move him out of here as quickly as possible before this Creeping Doom over here reaches him. The other one is over there. And yeah, we're waiting on that time stop and dealing with Bodhi. Now also Sarawak needs to attack, and yeah, let's see what happens next. Alright, Sarawak did throw his fire seed, but he did indeed lose his stuff. So we are going to pull him out of there and try to apply that death ward on him, kind of in safety of this northwestern part of the map. Bodhi is badly injured already. We should be doing some pretty good damage with our crits and backstabs on her. And yeah, well, let's see what's going to happen next. Also, I wouldn't really like Animen to be interrupted by Imoen. Now it's kind of unfortunate that she is chasing him. But anyway, we have to go for this. Sarawak needs to have his death wards in order to survive. And in the meantime, we can see if this simulacrum, I think this is the simulacrum, I think it casts protection from magical weapons, but we'll see if that is the case. Alright. Alright, John Irenicus actually cast Time Stop, so we're going to see what he's going to do with it. Oh yeah, we have Balthazar, of course. Active still, thanks to his lunar stance. And I'm not sure where the true Irenicus went. Oh yeah, he's here, invisible. So I guess let's use Balthazar to try to at least destroy his simulacrum in the meantime. Come on, keep attacking Balthazar. He, like I said, he kind of loses his focus sometimes. You have to kind of babysit him if you want to deal damage. Come on, keep attacking, dude. Alright, Horde Wilting is going into Senna Shira. This is inconsequential. She has protection from magical energy applied, and she is, of course, casting her own time stop from a scroll, so no interruption possibility there. Come on, Balthazar, don't be such a baby. Alright, now we have Senashira's time stop, and we are going to use it to hopefully dispose one of these fallen solars and cast a few spells so that we can establish a good starting position in this fight. So first let's do a couple of attacks on this fallen solar, and now let's summon ourselves a planetar companion. Alright, let's keep attacking. Balthazar has lost his lunar stance and is not active during our time stop anymore. So we have to rely on Senashira alone to defeat one of these fallen solars, which shouldn't be a problem. Alright, now her second cast should be available as well. So let's move her a little bit and cast Lower Resistance onto Imoen to lower her resistance from 40 to just 10. So she is going to be available for some additional spells later. Let's keep attacking that solar. Alright, that is done. Now, the other fallen solar is here, so let's actually start dealing damage to it already. Alright, Bodhi is using her abilities. She is not dead yet, which is kind of problematic. I was hoping to just delete her from the game with these crits and backstabs, which usually happens. But now, of course, our abilities are not active anymore because of these all of these time stops and whatnot. Actually, since that Horrid Wilting is still coming onto Senashira, I think we're going to move her away from our other party members. Alright, the real Irenicus is over there. Let's actually move her away so that it explodes somewhere else. Now that we have our planetar, also what we're going to do is cast a Dispel Magic onto these Meriliths to dispel their protections that they likely applied. Oh, we can also maybe even get Irenicus in that. Although he is not really a primary target. Now, I'm not sure what happened with Animan here. He seems to have failed somewhere in the meantime to apply Death Ward onto Sarawak. So we're going to have to be extremely careful with him. Let's just switch his weapons to a proper one now. And yeah, I think we just have to keep Sarawak kind of outside of the range of this fallen planetar. So we're going to reposition Sarawak to our eastern flank, and maybe he can help out there. Now, Animan is also blinded. That's not a big concern. I think we need to move in with some of our party members to deal with that other fallen solar. This is our absolute priority. But of course Bodhi needs to die as well, and I think Animan has easier access to Bodhi here. So let's just make sure she dies, and then we're going to move on to that other planetar. Alright, simple stun cast onto Senna is not going to matter. And yeah, I think we're going to use Senna on our eastern flank together with the planetar now that these protections of the Mariliths are likely dispelled. We are going to try to attack them. Alright, Bodhi died, finally. Now let's get all of our party members and focus on that fallen solar, trying to avoid any traffic jams. Unfortunately, not many of these succubi and these Alufiends died. I think only one Alufiend was killed by Greater Death Blow. Sometimes it happens that you can get all 4 of these guys. But anyway, they are not a big concern for the moment. Yeah, we just need to kind of reposition to make sure we get to that fallen solar. And keep attacking. And this in this crowd, it's sometimes a little hard to see who's where. Alright, Sarawak is going to help us with those Mariliths. I think we're getting to them. So if you can, Sarawak, activate some greater whirlwinds and use your damage. And be productive. Alright, and now our absolute priority is this fallen planetar, so we're going to see what's going on. Alright, now this Creeping Doom unfortunately spread from Animan to all of our other party members, although I think this is not going to be that big of a deal for now. Also, on Kirinai we have... On Kirinai we have some backups, but first I think we're going to use Senna to apply something onto Imoen in her Slayer form. We have Power Word Blind. Slayer Imoen is susceptible to blind, so that is going to help us a little bit to keep her out of the encounter. Balthazar is of course doing nothing. But yeah, now let's see if she managed to... Okay, she is blinded. That should help us out a little bit with her, just kind of running around, hopefully. Alright, this Marilith died from a Vorpal hit, so let's move on to the other one. And what's the status on this fallen planetar? I think we actually need Senashira's damage here. She is likely... well, I think Kirinai... You know, Kirinai has this reflection shield. We could increase her number of attacks by a lot if we switch to this Scarlet Ninja Toe, but I think this is not the time yet. We have to be safe, I think. And use the improved hasted Senashira to deal a lot of damage to this fallen solar. Hopefully in this crowd we can get there nicely and start dealing damage. Alright, let me just take a look at what's happening. Oh, I thought this was the first Vorpal hit, this message here, but that's actually the other one. So this time Sarawak managed to use the Ravager very productively. Alright, so we can just, I guess, destroy these guys on our eastern flank here. And yeah, let's keep attacking this fallen solar. It's really, really annoying that it managed to survive this long. Like, you see, this is basically what happened. We were so delayed at the beginning, because this can go much smoother, but the delay on Bodhi kill also delayed our dealing with the fallen solar. You know, of course, that greater death blow that wasn't reapplied on Sarawak meant that we lost Sarawak's damage here on the fallen solar. So, like, all of this can just kind of snowball into some nasty situations, but I think we're doing fine. We just need to make sure to kill this fallen solar quickly. Right, I think Animan might be able to heal now, and with Kirinai we have some scrolls. We have Maze, which we can use on Imoen, and I think we are going to do that if our situation kind of calms down a little bit. She also has another Power Word Blind scroll if she needs that. Anyway, Imoen, I think even though she's blinded, of course, she managed to find all of us here. We can reposition once we kill this fallen solar, and then our situation should be a little nicer. Alright, the succubus died, so let's move on to that Alu Fiend. And yeah, I think we're continuing here. Alright, Kirnai needs to get out of there. She is the primary target of attacks, it seems. So we're going to use a potion, and we're just going to run out. If we can, maybe to the east. And I think what we're even going to do is use our Rod of Resurrection to cast a heal onto Kirnai, because even if she runs out, she still has that creeping doom ticking onto her. Alright, that Alu Fiend seems to have died. Let's actually unleash a quick Dispel Magic from this Planetar too, to perhaps affect Irenicus with it. And perhaps we can even get to him now. I usually kill him last, but perhaps it is going to work out differently this time. Shira can heal, and we can keep attacking this Fallen Solar. Please, guys. This is way too long that she is active. Alright, Sarawak, please cast that heal onto Kirnai. Alright, and let's try see if Irenicus is susceptible to some damage. Alright, Kirnai is healed up, and I think that Fallen Solar has finally died. Yes, Balthazar even dealing the final hit. You did something, Balthazar. Nice. Alright, I think now we're going to just cast a quick remove magic onto all of these demons here. Although this is going to remove the blindness on Imoen, but I think in the next turn of Kirnai we are going to apply that maze to just permanently get her out of there. I think Anomen we're going to also get out of there and perhaps use a heal when he can. Now, Sarawak. Oh yeah, now that the threat of instant death from the Fallen Solars is no more, we can switch Kirnai to have more attacks, and we can bring Sarawak again in there to hopefully deal with these Meriliths and whatnot. So yeah, this remove magic is in effect. We're going to see if it was effective here. And I think Irenicus, yeah, died from the Planetar. This Planetar was a really value Planetar. Got a lot of value out of her. And yeah, now let's keep attacking that Merilith. Yeah, she is susceptible to our damage. And then can, I guess in the meantime, attack that Succubus. Alright, Imoen is actually out and about, just not doing anything significant, so that's very nice. And I think when we have a spare moment we can cast this maze from a scroll. Even though Kirnai is affected by Creeping Doom, she is going to succeed with that cast, and Imoen is just not going to be problematic at all. Now we can bring this Planetar also into the fight. The Merilith died. Let's check out this one. We might have to use our Breach Charge if she still has a protection from magical weapons active. Need to see that. And that is the case. Alright, that Succubus died as well. That's very nice. Alright, we are actually getting to that Merilith. No Breach Charge necessary, and our maze should have been effective. There's no magic resistance message there, so the 10 magic resistance of Imoen did not do anything here. So she should disappear shortly. And yeah, let's... Oh, Imoen even transformed back to her own self here. And I guess this maze... Okay, it is still going to work, but anyway, she is going to be back with us soon. Here we can just remove these cloud kills. I was waiting for an opportune moment to remove these cloud kills from, you know, using Anomen, but he had that Creeping Doom active for most of the fight. Let's have our Planetar with us as well. And yeah. Now Balthazar says, "We must be careful now, Shira. Within that stream of energy, Melissan is invulnerable to harm, and I doubt she will come out of it willingly to face us." Of course means Melissan bathing in those essences over there. "I think the essence pools that adjoin the throne might be divertible by someone with a connection to the essence. A Ballspawn, one of us. If all three were cut off from her stream, Melissan might be forced to deal with us rather than soak up even more power. She has no doubt guarded the pools in some fashion, but it is the only way to continue that I can think of. Short of standing here and watching her become a goddess, that is. That is a really nice addition from Ascension here, of course, having Balthazar kind of explain the next course of action. Indeed, we are going to have to cut the link between these pools of essence and Melissan, and we're going to have to do all three of them. But anyway, before we explain more about that, let's wait for Owen to come back, and we are going to be able to join her into our party again. And this is going to be a bit of an intermission, a chance to catch our breath here and kind of rebuff in peace. And we're going to get to that in a moment. But yeah, our buffs were either dispelled or are expiring, so we'll get to that in a moment. Well, let's first wait for Owen to come back from that mazed status. All right, now Owen's back. It's gone. I'm human again. Oh, now I know what you went through, Shira. I don't know if I ever want to go through that again. I'm just glad I didn't do anything worse while I just don't know how you handled it back in Spellhold. Thank you for not killing me, okay? I see the fight's still going on. Do you need me back in the party? I could leave the throne, I think. I think I have that power now, same as you. But I'd like to see this through. Yeah, sure, dude. Let's join up again. Alright, so now we have Owen with us again. Let's bring her script up to normal speed. And now there are several changes that Owen has undergone. First off, her stats are going to be increased for the remainder of the battle. This doesn't really matter all that much. But after what she went through, she is going to be fatigued for about 1 minute, and she is going to have this miscast magic 50% spell failure debuff for 2 minutes. And even though this icon vanishes earlier than that, spell failure chance is going to kind of linger for a while. So she is not going to be at like full power yet, but now she has also gained the ability to transform into the Slayer if we ever wanted her to like go through that horror again. And she also has this ethereal ability now, and it does a couple of things. First of all, it protects her from weapons of all enchantments and all spell schools for 1 round, and then for 3 rounds she gets all of her resistances increased by 50, so elemental and physical. Also gains invisibility status and invisibility detection for 3 rounds. It's not that useful because her spellcasting is kind of disabled for a while, but it is something that we can use on her in a pinch to kind of make her survive in some kind of nasty situation. But anyway, I mentioned buffs, and I think I'm going to cut the recording here for a moment to buff Balthazar and Owen with whatever we have left here. And also check what other stuff exactly we need to reapply on the rest of our characters, so be right back. Alright, Sarawak, Owen, and Balthazar received chaotic commands, death wards, protection from evil, and remove fear, although the chaotic commands and death wards came from Shira, so they are lower level, and we're going to have to use some of Animan's buffs once he regains his spells. I have removed the blindness from some of our characters with Jaheira's Cure Disease, reapplied some buffs like Armor Faith, Stone Skins, and stuff like that. So we should be mostly ready to proceed now. And what awaits us now are these 3 pool fights. And this is all structured differently from the unmodded game because, like Balthazar said, we're going to have to do all of those pool fights one after another to force Melissan to come fight us and initiate the final phase of the encounter. And at each pool there's going to be a fight, and after it, when we cut the link between the Ballspawn Essence and Melissan, we're going to get rested, and Shira is going to acquire some additional powers. So that's a pretty cool idea, and a good addition from a role-playing standpoint as well. Makes it a little bit more interesting. Now, I have praised the Ascension version of this fight a lot, but there are a few minor complaints I have about it, one of them being the lack of variety in those pool encounters. They are a little different, like this one is going to have some Cambion guys, this one is going to have some backstabbing guys, and the top right one basically just has a little bit of everything. And all of those are straightforward encounters, and all of them are fiend fights, and powerful fiends have high magic resistance, either 50 or 70, depending on which fiend we're talking about, and that doesn't leave much room for any spell-related finesse. I still have some different tactics in mind for each of these pool encounters, but you know, it would have been cool to draw a little more inspiration from the unmodded game here, where 2 of those pool fights had elemental princes as opponents. There was Yan Sibin, who was a prince of evil air creatures, and also Cryonax, who was a prince of evil ice creatures. And while it makes sense to only encounter fiends here, considering we're at the Throne of Blood, it also would have been cool if Melissan had, you know, multiple Archelementals doing her bidding. And if it were up to me, I would make one of those pool fights an elemental one. But anyway, there is going to be a lack of elementals from our opponents, but we are going to summon ourselves our own elemental prince. We'll see which one we're going to get, especially since our planetar expired in the meantime. Of course, you know, if we get Zaman rule, that's not going to be too great, because he is a prince of good fire creatures, and most of his arsenal, of course, you know, is all about dealing fire damage. And unfortunately, all of these fiends here are immune to fire, so he's going to be not that effective, but we'll see which one we get. We can also get Chan and Sunis still. And I'm going to try to kind of summon a couple of these elemental princes before the whole game is done. And yeah, before we go in, we're also going to try to apply some rudimentary protections onto Emma, and we'll see if we're going to be successful. Even though that icon of spell failure vanished from her, she is still under the influence of that spell failure debuff. You know, 2 minutes have not passed yet, so let's just see if she manages to like succeed with some of her spells, just to get her some stuff. We're also going to get ourselves improved haste, I think, before we go in, and some other stuff. I think we're going to activate the Globes of Blades on both Anomen and Jahira. What else can we get for this one? Let's see. Oh, okay, Sunis again. Alright, so he's going to be pretty effective. Or she is going to be effective. I think that's Princess. Anyway, maybe you can set up a chain contingency, Imoen. Even though these fiends that she is going to be positioned next to have 50% magic resistance, you know, she might still be able to do some damage, some magical damage to them. And you know, I think we are going to get some... Oh yeah, I used that Dark Fire Bow to apply... Actually, even something else we're going to do here. Even though the Staff of the Ram, such a notable weapon, was not really useful for us in our playthrough, I am going to give it one small chance here. One little appearance by the Staff of the Ram is going to be made, just to showcase its damage while it's used for backstabbing. And I think we're just going to then give the Amulet of Cheetah Speed then to Kirinai. I think Jahira has her cloak. And we should have another cloak. We're going to give that to Senna Shira, and we're going to apply an improved haste on her like that. Alright, so we have them hasted. And is there anything else I wanted to do here? I think, well, here we're going to use some smites. Because these opponents, well, most of the fiends in these encounters are going to be vulnerable to it. And just to provide a little bit of variety, we're going to gonna have to use some stuff. I think one of the guys that could lend itself well for backstab starts out here. And yeah, we're just going to move Sunis deep in there. We're going to see what we can do with our guys. And I think Imoen is going to stay here in the west. Balthazar is kind of scripted to always hang around Senashira, so we can't really leave him here without having to babysit him and like switch his position all the time. But I think Sarawak is going to protect Imoen. And I think we should be more or less ready. Jahira, come. And yeah, now once we click this pool, some of the demons are going to appear. And generally, most of these demons have the ability to gate in more fiends, although it usually doesn't happen right away. So if we deal with these demons quickly enough, we shouldn't have too many additional opponents spawn for us. But you know, if you're kind of too slow when killing these guys, you know, they can provide some additional opposition over time, and these fights have the potential of not going so smoothly. And also this fight specifically at this pool is going to have a couple of Cambion guys, and they are level 20 berserkers with Enrage and some high level abilities, and they also use that Soul Reaver two-handed sword, which applies that Thaco debuff for 2 minutes, -2 Thaco with each successful hit, and they can also shoot +3 arrows from their bows, but other than that they're not so special, and all the other demons are basically you know, well known for us. Balthazar. Why are you so lazy? Alright, so here we have 2 of these cambions. One more is in the west. There's also a Baldur, Merilith, 2 Glabrezus, a Succubus. Yeah, basically nothing that we haven't seen before. We are going to activate Smite on Jaheira, and Sarawak is under 6 now, of course, now that we have Imoen. And we're going to activate it on the Sarawak as well, so we can just stun some guys. Also, in order to dispel this Baldur's stone skins, we're going to use a charge of our Wand of Spell Striking. And here on Imoen, or on Kirinai, we're going to use Kai and present this cambion a Kai backstab, although I think it's not going to be so spectacular because they, I think, mostly chose to use Hardiness first, not Berserker Enrage. So, unfortunately, this showcase is not going to be so spectacular, it seems. But anyway, now we can just go in and see what these opponents are made of. Yeah, Sarawak. Stun some guys, please. Alright, one of them is stunned here. Imoen doesn't really want to get hit. Alright, we have released our spell charge. So what was the damage on that hit, Kirinai? Did you succeed with your backstab or not? 111, still pretty nice. But now for toe-to-toe combat we are going to switch you to your usual composition, and you can just finish him off, I guess together with Balthazar and Shira. Alright, everyone is doing what we want them to do. Okay, our contingency is released. I think now Shira though is going to focus on this Baldur. He's already badly injured. Nice one, Jaheira. You must be doing some pretty dope damage. Our girl Jaheira showing her true colors here. Alright, we actually did manage to do some nice damage. They failed their magic resistance check. That's very nice. Very, very nice, I would even say. Alright, boom. The Merilith is probably going to require a charge of breach, or perhaps we can just use a remove magic, and we should be successful there. Alright, Shira actually received a lot of damage from that Baldur. And yeah, let's actually move everyone over here, and just not to have to oh, I did that wrong. Not to have to deal with all of these mirror images, we have to start detecting illusions. Right, where's our remove magic? Yes, it was unleashed, so this Merilith should be ripe for some killing. And yeah, I think we're doing pretty well. We can probably by now use a Whirlwind attack on Sarawak, increase his damage capabilities. Balthazar. Why are you such a nuisance? Sarawak is going crazy. Oh, that's that one cambion who got knocked back so far away now comes back. Oh, this Glabrezu is still stunned from the smite. Maybe we can dispel his mirror images. Yes, yes we can. So I'm not paying too much attention, and Kirinai is on the brink of death. Yeah, our Taco was likely reduced on some of our characters here that got hit by a little bit, but it shouldn't be too big of a deal, especially since these pull encounters, you know, are not so demanding, and these armor class, Taco debuffs should expire by the time we are ready to engage in the final phase. And yeah, this was it. Oh, by the way, these items on the ground are from the Alu Fiends from the first phase. They just had some darts of wounding and, you know, a scimitar +3. Not even going to bother to pick those up. Now, when we cut this pool from Melissan. Like I said, there's going to be a burst of energy that Senna Shira is going to benefit from, and actually we are all going to benefit from, because all of our spells are going to be recharged. We're basically going to just get rested, which is pretty cool. Our items are going to regain their charges as well. We need to keep healing a little bit. Sarawak also leveled up in the meantime. So actually, let's do that level up. Level 32 you managed to get to, Sarawak, and I think more whirlwind attacks is going to be in order, not that anything of this matters. But anyway, since we are going to get rested, there's a, without the passage of time, there's a kind of a cool trick that we can do on our divine casters, because if we increase their wisdom through this potion of insight, they are going to get some additional free, mostly lower level, spell slots, and we can now, on Jaheira I don't think we're going to bother seeing low-level druid selection, although we can always use more death words, more backup death words. Yeah, more of that, please. Yeah, we are going to have like one more spell available on Anaman, for example. Yeah, on level 3 and level 4, and that's going to be the benefit now that we use this. You place your hand within the energies of the pool and draw the essence into yourself, diverting it away from Melissan. Boundless power fills you briefly, and while most of it dissipates, a portion fuels your inner energies. You are now immune to death magics and vorpal attacks, and have also gained the ability to unleash the power within you as a short burst of destructive power. The energies also restore the powers of all present. Yeah, that's that message of rest, I guess, and we cut that link. We can still, I guess, hop on the other side. So yeah, now we have our spells back, and we're going to be able to keep kind of reapplying some of our buffs that we're going to need. Like now Anaman has his stuff. We have our, additional spells here online. But I think I'm just going to reapply those buffs on like Balthazar and Owen before the final phase. Probably not going to bother here too much. Now we just need to, I think Owen should have haste. We can haste ourselves just so that like Sarawak and Anaman can move a little bit quicker. Actually, Anaman can now use the Amulet of Cheetah Speed for himself and get improved hasted. And this fight has some backstabbing Babao guys, but their weakness is that they are only level 9. And there's also going to be some like Alufiends or Succubi and a Nabasu, and all of those are only level 12. So this is going to be the fight where we're going to use some death blows. Jaheira has the standard death blows, so she is going to take care of those Babao guys, since they are only level 9 and qualify for that. And Sarawak, of course, as always with his greater death blows, is going to take care of some other guys. And do we need anything else? Oh yeah, we can summon ourselves another Elemental Prince and see which one of them we get this time. Oh yeah, we can reapply that Constitution buff on... Alright, Zaman Rule. Well, his arsenal is not going to be too useful here. Normally he has this like powerful flame strike that he can use, and of course the flame shield that is pretty damaging as well, but of course everyone is going to be immune to that. He can still serve as a distraction though. So we're going to have Jaheira here. We're going to activate True Sight from Kirnai's Hood. We can even hard cast it from Senna Shira as well, just to have these Babao guys revealed at all times, because of course they can go invisible for the purpose of doing those backstabs. We can reapply the Globe of Blades, I guess. Of course the damage from Globe of Blades bypasses magic resistance, so it should be effective for most of these guys. And let's try to reapply some more serious buffs on Imoen. Perhaps her spell failure debuff has already passed by now. Yeah, she did manage to get Spell Shield. Okay, we're going to get some more stuff on her later. And now I think we're just going to go in. So yeah, let's just kind of spread out, position our guys so they don't block each other. And yeah, let us summon our position. Alright, so there's one Nabasu here, the other one is over there. Yeah, and Alufiend, 2 Alufiends actually, and these 2 Babao guys actually went invisible. They should be revealed soon, so Jaheira is going to activate her, her Death Blow. Sarawak is going to activate his greater Death Blow, his superior Death Blow. Sarawak, where are you exactly? Okay, you're right next to that Nabasu, that's very, very nice. And yeah, since these demons are not that impressive, there is a Marilith though, which is going to probably necessitate a little dispel. I guess, you know, this Alufiend can die manually, and we're going to see on Jaheira what's the situation, if these guys reveal themselves or not. Their backstab, I think, is only ×4, so it's not even that dangerous. Of course, we have a lot of mitigation and damage absorption through like stone skins and iron skins and whatnot. Of course, you can equip like Boots of the Gargoyle and Kidu's Plate and all that, but you know, they're not serious enough opponents to really bother with all that. Alright, Sarawak, do your thing. And once our true sight ticks, we should be able to see these Babao guys. There they are. So, Jaheira, now you do your thing. Alright, I guess we're going to leave this this other Nabasu for Sarawak. And we can just keep attacking. Alright, this Alufiend is no more. We can move on to the other Glabrezu. The Babao died instantly. Now Sarawak, do your attack. And remove this Nabasu from this world. Very nice. You can go and attack the Glabrezu now, and I think we're just going to throw in a quick remove magic onto that Marilith, who most likely cast protection from magical weapons. They usually do that as their first thing. Yeah, indeed. And yeah, we can even bring Jaheira over to deal some damage. Animan is just going to remove that Cloud Kill by casting Zone of Sweet Air. And we're done already. And like I said, these pool encounters are not that special. I think I would make this one, replace this one with an elemental encounter of some sort. But anyway, now before our buffs get replenished again, let's actually reapply some stuff. I think Imoen should have, yeah, 1 protection from fire. We could give it to Kirinai for the future. We also have protection from magic energy. We can give that to Sarawak here, and Senashira's is going to be applied onto her. What else can we get? We can get some mirror images. We can of course get some spell immunity to abjuration. I think we're going to have to renew improved haste on Senashira, and we can do that on Kirinai using the Darkfire Bow, which got recharged. Oh yeah, you shouldn't be using that amulet once it's served its purpose with the improved haste. But anyway, anything else? Maybe some globes. Oh, by the way, completely forgot to present that Unleash ability. It basically bypasses magic resistance and deals some magical damage. However, the drawback is that Senashira is fatigued for a little bit after it. It's, you know, for a character like Senashira, it's not too impressive. She always has, like, more important things to use her rounds on. But it is something, you know, to add a little bit still, a little bit more to this encounter. Especially if you play like a pure fighter and whatnot, you have more use for those types of abilities, perhaps in some situations. Anyway, let's cut the link here. Yeah, of course the first portion is the same. But yeah, for the moment, you have gained the ability to teleport freely throughout space and also fight for control of abyssal demons that are under Melissan's control. Part of this ability to teleport also means you are now completely immune to the spells Maze and Imprisonment. And of course we are restored. So yeah, basically we have like a dimension door now, which of course uses up a round, so there's usually more important things to do. And yes, indeed we can kind of charm demons with this. We can control demons, you know, hostile demons, and they are going to go under our control, but usually it's just, like in most situations, it's kind of not worth the effort, you know, not worth the hassle, and it's usually more worth to use some kind of productive, more useful spell instead. Anyway, already Melissan begins to stir within the stream of divine energies. Once the last pull is stilled, there will be very little time before she reacts. Alright, so this last encounter, like I mentioned, it just doesn't have anything that significant. So I think we're going to just make a final trap kind of showcase, and with some kind of very powerful combos that Kirinai can use. But we can just reapply her stone skins in the meantime. Yeah, we have this mislead here, we have this black blade of disaster, and we have her traps. So this is going to be the Kirinai show. Since you've seen that these encounters are not too spectacular, we can, you know, use some broken stuff. Using Kirinai here, just to let her have some fun. We are going to place maybe 2 of these time traps. It depends, sometimes they trigger at the same time and you only get 1 time stop. Sometimes even 1 trap can trigger twice. It's you know, it depends how all of it works. We can also set some spike traps here to add some damage. Once the time stop passes, we can place 6 traps in total, so I think that's going to be our combo. 2 time traps and 4 spike traps. And that should really seal the deal here. These icons are so similar that I always want to check if I'm not placing the wrong trap here. Alright, so now that she has improved haste reapplied already, we're going to get her normal weapons here and actually cast the Black Blade of Disaster, a very damaging weapon with a very high top damage, which lends itself very well to abilities like Kai that are going to ensure that we are going to do max damage. So of course, in effect, we are going to be able to... Well, should we summon this Greater Elemental? Well, to finish the previous thought, of course, backstabs with Black Blade of Disaster are very highly damaging, and on top of all that, we are going to use Mislead to ensure that she is going to backstab with every attack during that time stop. And I guess we're going to summon an Elemental Prince. Maybe Chan? Oh yes, it is Chan. So we've seen all of them by now. We're going to keep most of our party here, I think, because Kirinai is going to, during that time stop trap, is going to, I think, clear out this platform, or most of it. And here we're going to have traps and the rest of our guys. Alright, so Kirinai is ready. We're going to wait for a couple more seconds so that she can activate Kai immediately once the encounter starts. And let's go. Right, now we have the trap activated. Let's activate Kai as well, and let's see who we can backstab. The Balors have stone skins, so they're not available, and the Merilith already managed to protect itself from magical weapons, but we can backstab everyone else here. So boom, 191, one shot, very nice. Now we have some less significant enemies here, but along our way, let's just kill them. Okay, this Owl Fiend we can backstab. Some skeletons, whatever. Now here we have another Cambion and an Abasu. Well, I guess since this time stop is still going, let's clear out this Cambion. This was the Scarlet Ninja Toe attack, that's why it wasn't a backstab. Alright, 191 again. Oh yeah, and we have our second time stop. I guess that was a little bit of an overkill. I guess we can clear out these insignificant skeletons coming from Animate Dead. But yeah, in order to deal with the Baldur and Merilith, we need to actually, the time to resume its course to use some dispels on them. I'm already losing my voice, man. Oh, and see, some of these time stop traps can actually trigger more than once, so this is kind of like our third time stop. I guess Chan didn't get to do a whole lot. Alright, now we're going. Alright, our spike traps activated. I guess not many of them activated because most of the targets actually died during the time stop. So this magical damage coming from the spike traps who activated as well, you know, had no target anymore to damage. Alright, so let's maybe throw in a remove magic. Okay, they are gating a Babao. Alright, Shira, you know what to do. Actually, let's activate our true sight again from our hood. We are still under the effect of mislead, so perhaps when that remove magic strikes, we are going to be able to backstab the Merilith. Oh, actually, quite a few gates are coming in, some additional Meriliths as well. Alright. Let's just position ourselves correctly for possible backstab there. Alright, the dispel might have been successful, we're going to see. I guess Sarawak is going to go right in there with whirlwind attacks. It's a little crowdy. Alright, that Merilith received some good damage. It's not maximum damage anymore. Kai has expired, so that's why it's only 136 plus Merilith. Here I think have some physical damage resistance. Anyway, this Babao, before it spawns, we can actually kill with Death Blow. Okay, we have an Abasu, another Babao. Babao! We're going to have a little ba-bomb of a strike from Shira for that Babao. Actually, we're taking some damage because I didn't reapply Armors of Faith that expired in the meantime. Let's actually do that now on Animen. Alright, and let's get going. Let's keep attacking. Oh, here's another Babao. Shira, you didn't deal with this one. You must have missed an attack. You're also not improved hasted anymore, so... Alright, let's just resort to the usual course of action. And kill them the old-fashioned way. Now let's see if we have any stragglers. I think we should be okay. Well, Balthazar is so picky as to... like following Shira. Normally he like follows her like right to her step. He's like right next to Shira in most cases, but somehow he's a little bit more finicky today. Alright, I think we are done, and before we activate this pool, recharge our spells, and engage in the final phase of the encounter, we are going to cut this episode here, but don't worry, the next one is going to be uploaded shortly after this one. I'm going to think about my spell selections, we're going to do our pre-buffs in the meantime, then at the beginning of the next episode we're going to cut the ties between this last pool and Melissan, and then we're going to engage in the final phase of this encounter. So for now, I thank you for watching. This was already pretty lengthy, I think. I hope you enjoyed our fights so far, and I'm going to see you in the next episode.